Nicole, why is it that Democrats haven't seemed to be able to read the room on this one? We have so many domestic crises unfolding. People have drawn really stark contrasts between, American mothers and American parents not being able to find food for their babies and all of this money being sent overseas. The juxtaposition between Russia's entire military budget and how much we're sending to Ukraine is stark and galling. We already, of course, spend more on the military than the next 10 countries combined for our own military efforts. Why is it that there doesn't seem to be any pullback or acknowledgement that there's so much frustration from the public in a bipartisan way about how easily the money seems to go out the door for Ukraine versus how difficult it is for our Congress to vote on any money to help Americans here at home?
Well, I think the Democrats are trying to show you that this is helping people at home. They're trying to make the connection that stopping dictatorships and these kind of regimes is important, that protecting democracy abroad is important, and that this kind of investment, it is weapons. These things have to be made. This is putting money into an economy in that structure. But I don't think that they're making the clearest argument to the American people about why this funding and why supporting Ukraine and its efforts is directly involved with keeping America at its stature in the world and the position that we hold, and keeping our economy and our workforce strong is directly correlated to this broader global economy, which means that having free countries and having democracy abroad, and we're doing it in conjunction with our partners in Europe, is important.
Yeah, I think that you're right that the case isn't being well made, that this democracy building project, some people might call it American imperialism, is protecting us at home. I don't know if you want to try to make that case for us here, because what people are seeing is that they have immediate material concerns. And on the other hand, we have a conflict that's been going on with direct U.S. involvement since 2014, that Obama declined to escalate into a full-blown war at that point. And now we're seeing withdrawal from Afghanistan that's now being paired with a resurgence of a military effort that just so happens to result in a great deal of lucrative contracts for the defense industry. You see Joe Biden going down to to weapons manufacturers and giving speeches there and really prioritizing this. We see Raytheon former staffers in the Defense Department and Joe Biden's cabinet. And to a lot of Americans, it looks like this is a boon for the war machine. And it's really unclear how this inures to the benefit of Americans at all.
Well, certainly the point that Rand Paul, I think, leaned into in his article was he was trying to link these to the inflation problem. And I understand why Republicans want to do that, because inflation is a huge concern for the American public. But the reality is that this spending bill, funding and sending aid to Ukraine, is not what's going to increase inflation in this country. These two things are not directly linked in the way that Rand Paul alludes to in his article. What the Biden administration is doing is ensuring that democracy is being protected across the world, which in their predictions is something that is going to help the American economy. And that this is a way, the same way that we've funded different if you send a surplus check, if you send those checks out to people, right, that's something that people think is spent right back into the economy. This is the more traditional way of creating a strong economy, which is funding things that then have to be manufactured and made and create these jobs and these wages. And that's the case that the Democrats need to be stronger and better about making.